This is an interactive digital video graphics system which combines video and a digital computer. This is an effect just for fun to get me into the scene. And now we can begin to play with the system. What we're going to see is an interactive digital video system. It combines a digital computer and some television equipment. The display you see on the screen now is the menu display, or the selection of commands and control functions that the operator can use to run this program. And everything's happening in real time. That is, we're interacting with this computer exactly at the speed that you see it on the screen. And you see the little triangular shaped widget following me around there. It's pointing out the menu buttons, a selection of operations that you can perform, which we'll see demonstrated perhaps later. Up above are a group of slider scales which relate to the selection of colors. And down here we have the selection of colors themselves, the palette. It's much like a palette of paints that a painter might use. And as I touch, by moving my hand around on the tablet, as I touch a color circle, a little arrow appears to show me that I've selected that particular color to paint with, and the brushes, which are down below, all the paintbrush shapes, change to that color. And I select a paintbrush by touching that similarly, and a little arrow appears underneath it. The area on the upper right of the tablet called Go that I'm pointing to allows me to then go over to the canvas area, or to another picture space that I'm going to paint into. So now I have the brush that I selected, the round brush, and the green color that I selected, and by pressing down with the pen I can paint into that canvas area. Now I can go back to the menu area and pick up another color, in this case red, and another brush, in this case a horizontal bar. I can use that horizontal bar to paint, as you see here. Now, paintbrushes can be very arbitrary shapes, unlike normal conventional paintbrushes. This little shape, for example, can be used as if it were a stamp pad, or it can be drawn with continually. Similarly, this brush in the lower right actually has several different colored areas in it and can paint simultaneously with a number of colors. Literally any shape can be a brush in this system. Now I'm going to use the menu button that I'm pointing to erase that area of the screen that we've just painted, and I'm indicating the area I want to be erased by the positioning of two corner brackets to indicate the rectangle to erase, and you saw that happen very, very quickly. Now we're going to select a different color and a different brush, and do a little drawing, do a little painting here. And you'll see what this is in a second. And now I'm going at about the speed I would be if no one were watching, or if I were not doing a demo. That is, this is a little bit faster than when I was pointing out the features a second ago, and this is about how long it takes to create a tree. Now we might want to put some grass down at the base of our tree, so what I'm going to do, rather than painting in all the individual grass, is I'm going to make a brush of some grass, and then I'm going to use that brush to paint a lot of grass. Now I'm pointing here to the little brush icon, which indicates the operation of making a brush out of something you've painted, and I indicate what that area is, namely the little grass that I've just drawn. And then we're going to replace one of the existing brushes with that new brush down in the lower right, and there's the grass. So now we have the grass that we've painted as a brush, and we can put instances of it down as if it were a stamp pad or a press-on or something, only in full color and on television. And so we'll lay down some grass around the base of the tree. Now it looks like all the grass is in front of the tree, so we're going to go back and repaint a little bit of the tree, since we painted over the base of the tree here. And we can do that as many times as we wish, to any depth that we wish. There's no problem of, as there is with real paints, of the paint stacking up or getting too thick or waiting to dry. And then I put a little grass over top of that so you can get the illusion of the tree actually coming out of the ground in the grass. Now we'll select some black, and we'll get the computer to help us draw some straight lines for an outline of a box that we want to use. So the computer is drawing straight lines, as you can see, between a point and the little hourglass-shaped cursor. And when I press down on the tablet, it then enters that line permanently into the picture. And when I pull up on the pen, the line is broken or detached, much like a rubber band stretching from the point that I started. So now we have our part of our little box, and if we use the area filling operation, which is also in the menu on the menu picture, we can fill that area, namely the front of the box, the front face of the box, with that blue color that we've selected. And we can select another color, say yellow, and fill one of the inner panels of the box. It may be a little hard to see that on your screen, since it's yellow against the white. And I'm now filling the back panel of the box. And I guess I'm going to select a gray for the right-hand panel. The computer can fill an arbitrarily bounded area, that is, anything as complex as even a maze or a very complicated shape can be area filled in just a couple of seconds by a program running on the computer. Okay, now we have our box, and we're going to use this icon called Move, or Copy actually. This one is called Copy. We're going to use the copy operation to make a copy of the box and place it down beneath the tree, and then to get it to look more or less like it's really in the scene, rather than pasted on, we're going to put a little grass around in front of it, so it sort of looks like it's sitting there in the grass. And that was a copy of the box that we just drew. We could also have just moved the box that we just drew instead of making a copy of it, but I wanted to preserve the box for the next part of the demonstration. And I think now we're going to paint, you guessed it, an apple to put on the tree. What you're seeing, by the way, is a direct video output from this system, from this digital video system, to a videotape recorder. That is, there's no television camera or film camera or any other kind of camera being used to create the image that you're seeing. It's all direct electronics to videotape. And that's one reason why the image you see is a good deal clearer than it might be under conditions of ordinary television where live cameras would be used. Okay, now we've made the apple into a paintbrush, much in the way we made the grass into a paintbrush, and put an instance of that apple on the tree. Now I think I'm going to play around with transparent paint. The paint that I just pointed to on the very far right was transparent paint, and I'm going to paint a little hole on the side of the box there, on the gray side of the box. Transparent is a kind of paint that we can use in this system just like any other color, and its effect is to form a transparent area, or a transparency. Now I'm drawing a small window, a triangular window on the blue side of the box, and we're going to fill that with transparent color, thereby creating a little triangular window on the side of the box. And of course, this is not literally a window. That is, you can't see the blue. You can't see through the blue to the yellow in the back of the box. It's just an illusion that we're going to use to combine the pictures of the box and the apple. So we pick up a copy of the box with its little transparent windows and put it down on top of the apple. And so we have the apple in the box. Or it appears that the apple is in the box. Actually, I've just overlaid the two, and I could not now, for example, remove the apple from the box if I wanted to, because they're combined together into one image. Okay, we also have the ability to change colors arbitrarily in the system, and for that we use the 3 slider scales shown at the top of the screen. There are 3 of them because the top represents the hue, the second represents the saturation, and the third represents the brightness of the corresponding color that is selected down below, namely the green. If you watch the green area down below, you'll notice it getting darker as I move the brightness pointer down towards 0 brightness. It gets blacker, or gets more nearly black. So that's the brightness scale. Then the saturation scale, which is the middle scale, adds more white to the picture as we go to the left, or in other words, gets more pale. So the green gets more and more pale, more nearly like white. And as we move back to the right, it gets more saturated, or more full green. Then the top is the hue, and the hue, of course, is the wavelength, or the position on the spectrum, or color circle where we are. So I can go through reds, greens, blues, and so forth just by moving that hue pointer around. So I could get a nice blue color, for example, instead. And notice that all the instances of that color which I used, namely the tree and the grass, previously, have also changed. So again, if I change the same color to a dark purple, say, then the tree and the grass will be dark purple, and anything that I painted previously with that color will turn to the same shade that I have just adjusted using the slider scales. So let's leave it at a little darker green than we had. That's probably a good color to leave it at. I should also mention that along the palette there are several black circles to the right, and it's very easy to use those colors to define new ones. You needn't just change the old ones, but new colors can be defined as well. Now I'm going to get a picture that I've stored previously on the disk, in the computer's disk memory, and bring it into the scene, merely to demonstrate that an entire picture, or in fact any part of a picture, any small area in a picture for that matter, can be saved, archived on the disk memory, and recalled at some later time. This particular soldier was painted over a year ago, I think, and saved in undegraded form. There's no loss in picture quality by saving a digital image on the disk or on any digital storage medium and then bringing it back, so it looks just as clear as it did when it was painted. So the apple looked a little big compared to the soldier, so I added a little more to the tree to get rid of that large apple. And then I'm going to use another little trick to get a smaller apple. I'm going to use a shrink or reduction program. I'm going to indicate that I want that area where the apple is to be reduced in size and copied to a new place, namely just below it, half as big. And again, any arbitrary shape or picture can be shrunk in this way to be half its size, and I did it again to get an apple a fourth the original size. And then we'll take a copy of that and put it in the tree and see how it looks. The corresponding expand or blow up operation also exists, so you can make things larger if you like. So there's our apple in the tree, and I guess there's our finished scene. Now we're going to see some examples of animated sequences done using this system. Here's a sequence that was done by Alvy Ray Smith, and he did this by merely painting one image at a time on top of the previous image that he had, just adding one circle or one ellipse or whatever to the existing image and then recording that on a video disc, which is a single frame at a time recording device, much like an animation camera, then playing the result back at full speed. So this was manually painted and recorded one frame at a time. Here's another example of the same technique. By painting and doing the operations that I just showed into a picture, one can get the illusion of motion. Here's a case. This was done by Eric Martin, who's an animator at Harvard. Shows a background that he painted and several images of a bouncing ball in various positions. He merely took each of the images of the ball in turn and placed them one at a time on the proper background, and then recorded that resulting frame on the video disc. So it was much like an animator's cells, only done manually using the digital computer. Here we have some video graphics by Fritz Fischer, who is an artist and a painter primarily. He used the system to do something that was not unlike what he might do with paints. Again, he just paints something using the painting system, then makes a permanent record of that frame and later plays it back all in real time at full speed. Next we have a series of animations which were done using a program plus some painted objects. In this case, Alvy Smith painted a set of legs and wrote a program which would attach those legs to any other object that he painted and give them the appearance of walking or running. So this is the Walk Anything program. Again, these frames were all recorded on a video disc one at a time as the program finished assembling each of them. Here's an example of what we call color change animation. In this case, all of the little figures that you see on the screen are in the picture simultaneously. It's just that most of them are white and only one of them is black at any given time. So you get the illusion of motion just by making one of the images on each line black at a given time. Actually, they're all stored there, they're all in the picture, but most of them are white, so you can't see them against the background. Here's some more color change animation where the picture itself is held constant, but the colors of the picture are changed from black to a variety of highly saturated colors. And then he edited a few flowers together and cycled them again. It makes a very nice effect. This too was by Alvy Ray Smith. And these credits were also done on the system. They took approximately 10 minutes each, including the chiaroscuro effect of the backlighting or front lighting. Ta-da!